Hey everybody, what's going on? I am Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary revolutionary astrologer, and this is a quick energetic update for the next week or so as we have a new moon in Libra on it's really Monday night into Tuesday morning, early Tuesday morning on the Pacific Coast, and that will be the 20th, 21st. And the significance of this new moon, it's at the late degrees of Libra, so 28 degrees, and then the next 2 days, we've got the sun making its move from Libra into Scorpio. And during this new moon in particular, Mars and Mercury are going to be canoodling or conjunct in the sign of Scorpio. So, as we're leading up to this dark moon, if you will, I would imagine that many of us are going to feel some frustrations or some energies that are going to sting or stir up a little bit of conflict for us in order for us to find new ways of creating peace and harmony and diplomacy in our relationships, in our lives. How do we communicate? How do we show up for another? Is the relationships that are meaningful in my life, are they reciprocal? Where do I need to communicate with more integrity? Because with Mars and Mercury here, the conversations, the ideas that we have could be pretty intense. Now, I say all these things because Libra, we think of Libra as the peacemaker, but you can't have peace without having war, right? Conflict, if you will. Most of us get really consternated or worried when we think of the word conflict. But keep in mind that conflict is an invitation for deeper understanding if we can stay open and curious and soft, right? If we can ask questions before we start making statements or assumptions. Asking ourselves, who told me that story? Did that individual tell me that story, or am I making that up based on my own wounding and my own inner dialogue, right? So, coming back to that, also, this new moon is a wonderful time if you want to really practice your skills, your communication skills, your partnership skills, your deeper intimacy skills. This is a great time to do that. Have the courageous conversations. Or if you're not ready for those conversations, get with someone who is skilled, a therapist, a mediator, a coach, somebody who you trust, you feel safe with, or you've heard good things about, that you can practice, you can role play. They can give you tools that you get to implement. I think the biggest thing is that you give yourself a lot of space and grace during this time to just practice communicating. When you're having courageous conversations, if this is what you decide you need, start with the easy ones first, right? I will say that there may be a few of us who are looking at relationships and going, this isn't reciprocal. I've had the conversation. I've talked to my boundaries. I've set them. I've cleared them, whatever it might be. And the other individual is not respecting them. Well, guess what? Then it's time to go, right? If you can't respect boundaries, you can't be in the relationship. I can even see a few of us going back to previous relationships and saying, you know what, it's been too long. We need to communicate better. We need to make more of a cadence, a regular connection here. I'm pointing something to something as well. The reason I'm saying the past, the reason I'm saying intentions around the frustrations or the that we can't have peace without war, that conflict. Mercury in Scorpio gives us a very deep, penetrating thought process. We're going to stop at nothing to find answers. We're going to investigate. Just be careful, because when you start looking for something, you're going to find evidence of some sort to soothe you, to confirm, whatever it might be. Not everything is as it appears to be. That's why I say ask a lot of questions. Don't make assumptions. Now, some evidence is going to be smack in your face that you have to deal with, and you have to confront an individual or a situation, right? Again, having those skills to do it. With Mars and Mercury at this full moon, or excuse me, this new moon in Libra, I would imagine there's going to be several of us who will have to say, this doesn't work for me, and I have to have time to grieve it. There's a tendency with Mars and Mercury here, though, that we could get pretty offensive with our words. So be careful. And also be careful that you're not turning those words on yourself. You know, talk to yourself in the way that you want to be talked to, or talk to others the way that you would want to receive information, things like that. Keep that in mind as well. Something else that I would say is that this is a really great time to be more intimate with those that you care about. If you felt like you've been kind of doing your own thing and they've been doing theirs and you've been feeling a little disconnected, this is a perfect time to renew because it's a new moon. We're starting some new things. We set some new intentions. It's a great time to renew and revisit or redo, restart maybe deeper, intimate connections, conversations, things like that. I'm using the RE words, renew, revisit, things like that, because Mercury in Scorpio, it will transition into Sagittarius in a couple of, about a week, but it goes retrograde in November and around November 10th. So we're going to start feeling the shadow of that in the next week and a half. And so already, I can tell you from personal experience, I've already had some Mercury retrograde examples starting to show up. Some technology not working the way I need it to, a car issue for my beloved, some things that some people from the past reconnecting with them. So I'm just putting little pins on the map that we may already start experiencing some of that as well. Now, I'll leave you guys with this. When you are looking at the next few days, so I'm recording this on Wednesday, the 15th. Pluto's now direct. So the intensity of the Pluto Aquarius energy will start to magnify, start to amplify, and we'll start to see a lot more science technology speed up again, So pay attention to that. The other thing, too, over the next few days is that we're going to start to see certain things maybe not working properly, like technology or science, that sort of thing, so that we can fix it, so we can innovate it, so we can come up with something different. Systems, right? So, what happens when something isn't working correctly? I know for myself, I get frustrated. So, just notice if there's frustrations, if there's irritations that come online, how do you respond to them? Do we take it so seriously, or do we go, okay, this is a moment in time. What tools do I have in my tool bag? I have this whole bag, if you will, of stuff that I can use. How do I meet that? Those are going to be the invitations over the next several days. I'm not saying you're not going to experience disappointment, because you will. That's part of the human experience. And it's in that disappointment that you get to set new intentions for this new moon in Libra, which is all about relationships and partnerships and diplomacy. And it is about open enemies also. So you may find that there's some competition that shows up that you either weren't prepared for, or you don't not quite sure how to deal with it. Maybe you're too exhausted. You're like, oh, I've been slaving away. I don't want to have to fight for something. And here you have a chance that you may have to face that. So just keep in mind, you have the skills, you have the tools. If you feel you don't, there are resources available to you that it takes our effort to find. And if we're willing to do it, roll up our sleeves, do that work, then it will be rewarded. One of the themes, if you will, that I've been noticing a lot with myself and with clients is life is hard. We just don't have to make it so difficult by adding in ingredients like stories that no one told us, assumptions that we make, or creating change for the sake of creating change. So I'm going to invite us, if we can, that when something hard shows up, that we don't react, but that we pause long enough to open, get curious, and soft. All right, you guys, I hope this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Come find me at 12listen and jamiedawn.com. And I look forward to working with you anytime. Take care.